Once upon a time, in a land called Earth, people discovered that they needed a way to make big decisions together. Long before there were TVs or tablets, when dinosaurs had long disappeared and woolly mammoths roamed the land, people lived in small groups called tribes. These tribes were like big families, and they made decisions together in a circle, listening to the wisest among them. In a hot and dusty place called Mesopotamia, which is hard to pronounce but was very important, people started building cities out of sand and mud. It was there that kings who wore shiny jewelry said they had thinking powers from the god, and so they made the rules. Not far away, in the land of Egypt, the mighty pharaoh wore a crown as bright as the sun and ruled everyone like he was a king. He built giant triangles called pyramids to show how amazing he was. Over in China, clever rulers called dynasties were always thinking about how to lead, as they believed a special seal from heaven was stamped on their leadership, called the Mandate of Heaven. In India, a long time ago, smart people wrote a book called the Arthashastra that was filled with tips and tricks on how to be a great leader. Imagine having a whole book of secret ideas on how to play the best game of politics ever. Hop on a boat and sail across the sea to Greece, where people really love talking and thinking. In a city called Athens, they invented a way for everyone to have a say. This was called democracy, where even if you weren't as big as Hercules, you could still make a difference by voting. Now, off to Rome, where people wore togas, which are like very fancy bed sheets. They tried something called the Republic, where they picked leaders, but eventually they just couldn't resist having a super boss called an emperor. Zoom forward to a time of knights and castles, where Europe was made up of little kingdoms with brave kings and queens. They promised each other to be friends, kind of like having a sleepover promise with your buddies, but with swords and shields. The world had lots of changes as time passed, and soon everyone started thinking about being one big family called a nation. This was when books were written by thinkers like Machiavelli, talking about how to play nice but also make sure you stayed king. Then came a time when lots of smart thinkers like John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau had bright ideas about being fair and nice to everyone. This made people stand up and say things needed to change, leading to grand adventures called revolutions in places like America and France. People dreamed of freedom where everyone was important, much like having a clubhouse where everyone gets a special badge. And so, little listener, the game of politics, just like any game you play with your friends, has rules that change with time. It's all about working together, making sure everyone has their turn, and building a world where everyone can be happy and safe. So dream big and remember, you too have a say in this exciting adventure we call life. The end? Or maybe just the beginning of your own big story.